What's up, y'all? Welcome back to Controversial Calls with lead official Miko, aka Chosen Commander Miko. And today we are going to talk about one question from each division. First, starting off with the AFC North. Let's get into it. AFC North. So, first team I want to start off with, I really want to start off with the Ravens. I'm going to save them for last. The Bengals. It's easy. It's simple. When can the offseason come? I mean, it is that simple. Jake Browning is one of the best backup quarterbacks in the league. So, a lot of people might misconstruct the performance he had last Sunday against the Vikings to be, oh my gosh, Jake Browning sucks. He's this, he's that. He's not a starter. Let's get that clear. But he did go up against one of the best, if not the best, coached defense in the league. Brian Flores led defenses, if you go back and look at the statistics, have always been elite. The Vikings defense was elite last year. This isn't a surprise. That's why if you watch me make my picks, I went with the Bengals. Then I sat there and I thought, Brian Flores runs that defense. It's two backup quarterbacks going against each other. A lot of the times, the better defense is going to win. That is a top 5 defensive unit in the league. So, yeah, but enough about the Vikings. When you dedicate, 45% of your cap space to 3 players, a quarterback and 2 receivers, it's gonna be hard to construct a roster. It truly is, and then plus another lump sum of money to Trey Hendrickson, which is a big reason as to why they didn't want to pay Trey Hendrickson that money. They didn't want to devote a long-term contract to him. It's gonna be hard. However, you gonna have to find a way. I'm sorry. That's just the matter. That's the matter of the business. Just like how players get the short end of the business, businessmen or the ownership can get the short end of the business also. And in this case, the ownership and the front office is getting the short end of the business. You did what you needed to do to make your franchise quarterback happy. The quarterback in his second year in the league led you to the Super Bowl, second or third year in the league. You did what you need to do. You paid the receiver. You paid his 1. You paid his 2. But now you got to construct a team around him. The defense is atrocious. The defense is not good. We all knew this going into the season, and right now it's living proof. The defense is not good. The offensive line is probably the worst in the league. It's been so many times this season already where either quarterback, it doesn't matter. It's not like they blocking hard for either quarterback. It's been so many times where either quarterback snaps the ball and is just a plethora of the defensive players in front of his face, whether it's a lineman, a linebacker, corner, or safety. It don't matter. If you blitzing, you getting back there. If you on the line, you getting back there. If you simply, you're getting back there. So I don't want to say their season is over because it's far from over, but I do want to fast forward to the offseason for them and see if they can just focus on getting in a competent offensive line in front of Joseph Burrow. Next team in the AFC North, we got the Steelers, Ravens, Browns. My question for the Browns is, when is it time for a quarterback switch? Now, Joe Flacco has not been playing horribly. I mean, he is Joe Flacco. You know what you're getting at this point. But as we know for the previous years, like I can't even tell you how many years it's been. For the previous years, the Browns defense has always led this team. Now, a couple seasons ago, they also had one of the best running attacks in the league with Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt behind a stout offensive line. The same problem with the Jets is always being quarterback. That's why it is so important to find the guy behind the offensive line. That's why it's so important. It can elevate you from being a playoff team or a possible playoff team to a Super Bowl contender. A lot of Super Bowl contending teams don't even have the best roster, but they have a top 5 quarterback in the league, and that's just a huge difference. We've seen it time in and time out. So, with that being said, when is it time? Like, y'all gonna have to find out if y'all A, have a franchise quarterback on the roster, and B, if y'all do, who is it? If it is someone, it's either Dylan or Shador. Obviously, Dylan was drafted higher than Shador, so he's gonna have more opportunity. He's gonna have a longer leash. But when you take that side of business out of it, who's the better player? Who's the better fit? Who can lead you possibly to the promised land, or at least lead you back to the playoffs, lead you back to a playoff run, lead you to some hope? That's my question for the Browns. For the Steelers, my question is, when are y'all going to show consistency? That's my question. Week 1 came out guns a-blazing. That offense looked lethal. The Jets' defense is always projected to be one of the best in the league. And they came out guns a-blazing against that Jets defense. Week 2 against, who was it, Seattle, wasn't a beautiful showing at all. The offense looked bad. It was pretty much the offense. Like, my problem is going to be the consistency with the team as a whole, but majorly with the offense. Week 3, it still wasn't the prettiest showing, but it was enough to get the job done. The Patriots turned the ball over 5 times. The Steelers came away with 21 points in the game. I feel like if a team turns the ball over 5 times, you have to score at least 27 points. At the very least. You feel what I'm saying? As the season goes, it's a lot of new pieces in Pittsburgh. They're still trying to figure things out. Just consistency. We're just going to see a Mike Tomlin coach team, a Mike Tomlin led team is always a good team. But this year we're just going to see how fast it takes for consistency to really set down in Pittsburgh. That's how I feel about the Steelers. Aaron Rodgers has looked formidable in the black and gold. He's doing what he needs to do. He just needs to be serviceable. The defense, last week it looked like they started to finally wake up. TJ Watt had an amazing game. It just seems like once both sides mesh together, I think it'll be the same old Steelers. They'll be 10-7, 11-6 in the wild card, probably having to go somewhere. And yeah, we'll see where it goes from there. But right now, just consistency, just bringing the whole puzzle together. Now, the Ravens. I was waiting on them. Can you get over the hump? The Ravens have one of the most talented rosters in the league. But it's always something with them. Always something. Who would have thought 3 weeks into the season, Derrick Henry will have 3 fumbles? Who would have thought? Derrick Henry is still a top 3 back in the league. Don't get me twisted. But who would have thought now he would be having fumbling problems? In 2 of the games, it's cost them 2 of the games. Against 2 Super Bowl contenders. We can't have those fumbles, Derek. Like, and you're not the only one at fault, by the way. But I'm focusing on Derek. When are y'all gonna get over the hump, bro? Against the Bills, you're up 40-25 late in the game. There's no excuse why. You are one of the best teams in the league. You know what makes you one of the best teams in the league? What makes teams one of the best teams in the league? The ability to close out a game. They did not close out that game. You know what happened? They lost 41-40 because they could not close out the game. A run game can be as dangerous as it wants, but it's only as dangerous as the running back allows it to be. A running back can have 20 carries, 200 yards, and 2 touchdowns. But if it comes down and it's 34 to 33, 2.5 minutes left, you need to salt the game away by running the ball, and the running back fumbles the ball, all the stats, all the accomplishments, all the touchdowns, they go to waste for nothing. Because what's probably going to happen is you're going to lose to a walk-off field goal, 36 to 34. And the main storyline is going to be that the running back fumbled the ball that led to the game-winning field goal. The offensive line. we all saw Monday night. That was horrible. 7 sacks. You know how bad the O-line had to play for Lamar Jackson's to endure 7 sacks? He's the most mobile quarterback in the league, and he took 7 sacks. That means if it was made pretty much any other quarterback in the league, they would have took at least 8 sacks minimum. Probably 9, 10. That's bad. So they need to figure out what's going on that O-line. And then the defense. This is not the prototypical hard-nosed Ravens defense. I don't know what's going on. We done saw them give up 41, and we done saw them give up, 38? That is unheard of. When you think of the Ravens, the first player you think of is Ray Lewis. Who do you think of after? You think of probably Ed Reed. Who do you think of after that? You probably think of someone like Terrell Suggs. When you think about Ravens, you think about defense. You think about hard nose. You think about grit. You think about toughness. Giving up 41 points and 38 points in the first 3 weeks of the season is not prototypical Ravens football. So that defense needs to come together and figure out what the problem is. 200 yards on the ground that you allow. I understand Matabuke wasn't in there. Calvin Noy wasn't in there. I understand they are huge parts of the defense, but 2 drives, 90-plus yards? That's not a good look, bro. I promise you it's not a good look. That the Lions determined how that game was going to go. They told the Ravens, we're going to run the ball down your throat. We're going to take Lamar off the field. And y'all just going to sit here and endure it. And the Ravens didn't show no fight. Hand off to Gibbs, 6 yards. Hand off to Montgomery, 10 yards. Hand off to Montgomery, 7 yards. Hand off to Montgomery again, 25 yards. Hand off to Gibbs, 15 yards for a touchdown. I mean, some had to give in that game. So, will the Ravens be able to get over the hump? Things don't get much easier. They play Kansas City this Sunday. Kansas City don't look like Kansas City. But one thing I do know about the Chiefs and Mahomes and them, whenever it is time for them to elevate their play, they always do it. We see examples of it every year. We saw examples of it last year. Last year was probably the worst they have looked. They still made it to the Super Bowl. They still had to beat the Ravens. They still had to beat the Bills. So, my question to you, the Ravens, is can you get over the hump?